He was setting off on his round and had come to show me how grand he looked in his new outfit. But I am wearing the clothes of a Dr. Jagidar Sahib, said Chandu. Go away, you swine, go away and wear clothes befitting your low status. So this Chandu was looking like the Padre Sahib, that is the father house, the school. Hello students, I am Anil, Assistant Professor of English, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Welcome to the second session of Barber'S Trade Union. In the previous session, we got to see Chandu was a barber boy and he did not go to school. Though he did not go to school, he was a very clever person. The narrator or the speaker of this short story says that though he belonged to the barber's caste, he was very clever and intelligent. He used to look up to him as the leader. He was very intelligent. He used to recite poems. He also could recite the long prose parts of his books. But since his father died, he went into his hereditary profession, that is, being a barber. So now he expresses his desire to get the attire of Dr. Kalam Khan, where he saw him in the market. He wanted to have the same kind of clothing to do his job. He was very fascinated by him, and he also says that he is as good as Dr. Kalam Khan because he learned something to treat people with boils, pimples, etc. from his father. Now let us go on to the next part. One day I was thrilled to find Chandu at the door of my house in the morning. He was dressed up in a white turban, a white rubber coat, a little too big for him, but nevertheless very splendid, and a pair of pump shoes in which I could see my face reflected in a clear silhouette. He had a leather bag in his hand. He was setting off on his round and had come to show me how grand he looked in his new outfit. Marvelous, I said, marvelous, and he rushed off towards the house of the landlord, whom he shaved every morning, with me following admiringly behind. So here, he went to the town, he got the attire, now he is dressed in that, he wanted to show it to his friend. He came, and the speaker says, marvelous, he was looking very marvelous. And he started off to do his job. And this speaker, he ran behind him to see what happens that day. There were not many people about at this time, so I alone witnessed the glory of Chandu, dressed up as a doctor, as he strutted up the street, carefully warding off the cow dung cakes which the village woman stuck to the walls, and the dirty water which flowed through the drains. As we entered the home of the landlord, we met Devi, the landlord's little son, who clapped his hands with joy and shouted to announce the coming of Chandu, the barber, in a beautiful heroic dress like that of the Padre Sahib of the mission school. So this Chandu was looking like the Padre Sahib, that is the father house, the school. Ram, 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 said Bijay Chand, the burly landlord, taking his hands to touch the sacred thread which hung over his ear, since he had just been to the lavatory. The son of a pig. He is bringing a leather bag of cowhide into our house, and a coat of the marrow of, I don't know, some other animal, and those evil black Angrezi shoes. Get out, you son of the devil. You will defile my religion. I suppose you have no fear of anyone now that your father is dead. Chandu was expecting appreciation for his look. But what happened here? Bijay Chand, he rebuked, he scolded Chandu for being in such a dress. But Chandu says, but I am wearing the clothes of a Dr. Jagidar Sahib, said Chandu. Chandu protested. But he says, I am wearing the dress of a doctor. But I am wearing the clothes of a Dr. Jagidar Sahib, said Chandu. Go away, you swine, go away and wear clothes befitting your low status. As a barber, don't let me see you practicing any of your newfangled notions, or else I will have you flogged. Now here he was threatened. Go wear the clothes which suit your status, low caste status. But Lala Bijay Chand, Chandu appealed. But he appealed. No, these are clean. Get away, you useless one, the landlord shouted. Don't come any nearer or we will have to treat the whole house with the sacred cow dung to purify. So here the speaker is talking about defilement of a place when a low caste man enters their premises. Chandu returned. His face was flushed. He was completely taken aback. He rushed towards the shop of Tanura, the sahukar of the village, who kept a grocery store at the corner of the lane. When I got to the head of the lane, I saw the sahukar with one end of the sail in which he had been weighing grain lifted in one hand, abusing Chandu in the foulest way. So when this speaker followed Chandu, Chandu went near Tanuram. He was the sahukar, a grocery shop owner. He was scolding Chandu, "You little swine, you go disguising yourself as clown when you ought to be bearing your responsibilities and looking after your old mother. You go wearing the defiled clothes of the hospital folk. Go and come back in your own clothes. Then I shall let you cut my hair." And as he said so, he felt for the ritual tuft knot on top of his head. So here, again, another person belonging to the superior caste scolds Chandu. Chandu looked very crestfallen and ran in a wild rage past me as if I had been responsible for these mishaps. I nearly cried to think that he hated me now just because I belong to a superior caste. Now these thoughts come into the mind of the speaker. He says, now Chandu might have started hating me because he belonged to the superior caste. "Go to Pandit Premanand," I shouted after him, "and tell that these garments you are wearing are not unclean." This speaker, he screams to Chandu, "Chandu, go to Pandit Premanand, tell him that these are clean." "Oh, so you are in league with him," said Pandit Premanand, emerging from the landlord's home, where he had apparently been summoned to discuss this unholy emergency. "You boys have been spoiled by your school education. It may be all right for you to wear those things because you are going to be a learned man. But what right has that low-caste boy to such apparel? He has got to touch our beards, our heads, and our hands. He is defiled enough by God. Why does he want to become more defiled? He is a rogue." Here, again, Pandit Premanand, he was summoned to Vijay Chand's house to discuss that this boy is doing such acts. And when Pandit Premanand was coming out of the house, he notices the speaker telling Chandu to go to Premanand and tell him that his clothes were clean. And Premanand says, "Oh, you are in league with this low-caste boy. You are actually going to be a learned man. These clothes fit you, not that low-caste man." That is what is said directly here in short story. Chandu had heard this. He did not look back, but ran off in a rush, as if he were set on some purpose which occupied him more than the abuse which had been the cause of his flight. I was very disturbed about Chandu's fate all day, and on my way back from school, I called in at the hovel where he lived with his mother. So Chandu, he ran past somewhere, he disappeared. He did not see him. The speaker went to school. While he was coming back, he went to the small hovel where he and his mother lived. His mother was well known for a cantankerous old woman. She was a very irritating old woman because she, a low-caste woman, dared to see the upper caste people as they never dared to see themselves. But she was always very kind to me. Though she spoke to me too in a bantering manner which had grown on her through the suffering and humiliations of 60-odd years. She said, "Well, you have come, have you, to look for your friend? If your mother knew that you were here, she would scare my eyes out of. She would scratch my eyes out for casting my evil eye on your sweet face. And you, are you as innocent as you look? Are you also a sneaking little hypocrite like the rest of your lot?" So this speech of Chandu's mother reflects the humiliations that she had. "Where is Chandu then, mother?" I asked. "I don't know, son," she said, now in a sincere, simple manner. "He went uptown way and says he earned some money shaving people on the roadside. I don't know what he is up to. I don't think he ought to annoy the clients of his father. Clients his father served. He is a child and gets funny notions into his head, and they ought not to be angry with him. He is only a boy. You want to see him and to go out playing, I suppose. Very well, I will tell him when he comes. He has just gone up the road, I think." "All right, mother," I said, and went home. So here, mother says he is just a boy. Funny notions come to his head and he wants to follow them. And being elders, they could have just let it go, but they made it a big issue. And Chandu, he is working on the roadside and earning some money. I don't know what he wants to do. And when this woman tells this, the speaker is satisfied by the reply and he says, "Okay then, I'll see him later," and he leaves. So here ends the second part of the short story, Barber's Trade Union. So you should remember what is happening in the life of Chandu. Chandu was a boy, a clever boy, but he loses his father. He starts practicing his father's hereditary profession of being a barber, but he has this attraction towards the clothes of Dr. Kalam Khan, and he wanted to wear that. And somehow he gathers some money and he buys that clothing, and the very next day he shows it to his friend. He goes on doing his duty, but the people who had to take service from him, they refused to take service from him because he was wearing such nice clothing. The problem here was, being a barber boy, a low-caste boy, was not allowed to wear such neat clothes. Therefore, Chandu is really agitated and he was scolded by the people of the town and he leaves. The speaker wanted to see him, but Chandu was missing. And he goes to his mother. His mother says he is doing something which she did not know. And the speaker says if he comes home, he was to be informed to meet him. And here ends the second story. Let us meet in the next session and see what happens with Chandu. Thank you.